Hello. I thought I'd report back after we took the Jaguar in for an MOT. I'll try and get a bit of a different angle so you can see it. There it is. So in the previous videos I was saying about what I was trying to do with it, and the previous list of advisories, if you remember them, it was lots of underbody corrosion. I got under there, had a good look at it. Took it in for the test, and you can see the reg there. For those nerdy ones like myself, you can go and have a look on the MOT history. There's plenty of bits on there. Obviously the video to actually replace those bits of suspension, that's worked. The car will drive with them in there. The rust underneath it, I took a good bit of time getting under there. It was just literally graft. There's no magic sort of treatment for that, other than there was no cracks, no splits to the metalwork. So I just had at it with a wire brush and polished it up, and brake ferrules, that sort of stuff. A lot of what was on there was actually just muck, dirt. It wasn't even rusted. Certainly no worse than the corrosion you'd expect on a vehicle of any age. And I'm not sure whether I've got a cloudy video here. It looks a bit cloudy, or if that's the light I'm getting. Let me hang on. Not really much different, but hey, you got to look at my pocket. Yeah, so the other bits on there, the front suspension links didn't come up this time, which I'm surprised about. But I mean, they could have been just borderline the previous MOT. And if you look at the last MOT, it's only done about 1,500 miles anyway. So that's the thing with an MOT, isn't it? It's subjective to the tester that's doing it. I rated the garage that did the work, so when they came back with the MOT result, I trust that it's not just been fudged through and forced through. And I certainly didn't ask them to do anything other than test it properly, because I take kids in this, it needs to be safe. But the good news is that the advisories that came back for it were, well, there's a little bit of a clue. There were advisories. It passed. There you go. Happy days. It passed the MOT. The advisories that came back were the rear tyres are slightly worn. But again, I'm not massively concerned about slight wear on tyres. I'll wait and see how things go, how long I'm going to keep the car for. I want to keep it for a while, but let's see what happens next year. The wheels, as you can see, let's have a little look around actually. I don't think we can spot some of these, but they're corroded. There's a few lots of marks and chips, and you can see sort of inside edges. There are bits of corrosion on them. They look like they're good, straight, clean wheels. They just need a good bit of TLC. So I may even attempt to do a DIY job on the wheels. I've never done that before. I've always fancied it, but generally speaking, it's on nicer wheels. It's often cheaper sometimes to buy a set, as the Discovery over there is sitting on 20-inch Range Rover Sport wheels, because the whole set of wheels and tyres was cheaper than buying a new set of tyres. So we'll see. But with the Jaguar being a sort of a lower to the ground car, it looks like there is availability of Goodyear Eagle F1 tyres that I love, and that I can get on that car. So that was one advisory, and the other advisories, other than tyres, is on here. As you can see, there's a bit of water starting to get in the plate, and it's just that it's in there, but it doesn't detract. You can still read the plate legibly. So that's the thing. The only issue I've got with that, and again, I don't know if anyone's got any tips or recommendations. So if you have, drop them below or message me. But their Paramount Jaguar is on them, and I should know this anyway because that's Derby, and being sort of around the area anyway. Paramount, I think it went straight from Paramount to Stratstone Jaguar, and then from Stratstone to Inchcape. So even if I went back now and spoke to Jaguar Derby to get me some new plates up, they'd be Inchcape branded anyway. But I would really love the idea that they are the original plates that were on the car, so I want to replicate that if possible. But at some point that front plate will have to come off and be replaced, so I'm not too sure what to do with it. Right, next projects then, well, it's been Baltic. So the MOT was done last week before. So the MOT was done a little while ago. I haven't reported back because it's just been horrible, and weather's been grim. We've not had snow in this area of Derbyshire, and we've had lots of cold weather, 0 degrees, and sort of just below that. So I just haven't wanted to come outside and do stuff. But the next things I want to do are to, since I put the stereo in, there's a video for that obviously, a nice long one. Since I put the stereo in, it does seem to be lacking a little bit of bass. And over in the Discovery, it's got I think it's the Meridian sound. It's got a decent stereo, decent subwoofer under the seat. So I'm tempted to put some bass in the Jag. I've got an old 10-inch. It was called the Perfect 10 subwoofer back in the olden days, back early 2000s. It's a fantastic subwoofer and a Rockford Fosgate amplifier. So I may try and do something to get that in the boot if I can put it in a way that it doesn't intrude on the boot space, and I can actually tie it down to something. That might come, so I'll try and do videos for that one. And the other thing I'm quite keen to do now is get the rear box off, the back box off, and see what it sounds like with no rear box. If it sounds ridiculous but funny and sporty, then I may put an inline valve. There are a few of those floating around on eBay. I think there's 2.5-inch and 3-inch tube sections that you can weld into, or I think you can clamp in with some of them, but clamp in line to the exhaust. So chop a little section out, and then with a button, magic button, you can just bypass the back box, and I think that could be just fun, a bit of hilarious fun. Part of me wants, because the car looks properly old-fashioned and it looks like an old man's car, to then all of a sudden be screaming out with a V6 bellowing from it. It might be funny. It might not. Who knows? But that's the plans. Oh, and the other sort of the first thing that's happening is this Wednesday. Actually, it's booked back in again with the same garage. I did sort of say, if there's time, can you have a look at the tracking? If it passes, can you look at the tracking? And they did do that. They looked at the front tracking, and I didn't make it clear enough that it was the rear tracking. So where those rear suspension arms have gone on, in that video I said that the bolts that you can adjust the camber on, they went back roughly in the right area, but you can feel it when you're driving. It feels like you've got a bit of a buck and bronco at points when you go around corners. So it needs that rear tracking doing, and then hopefully it will drive straight and true, because it was before I changed those suspension arms. Otherwise I'll be worried that I've done something wrong. But I don't think I have, and we'll see what happens next. But it might be a little while now until I get some more content for the Jaguar. I'm going to move over to the Discovery next. There's a few videos I'm trying to do on that one, so if the Jaguar is your thing, then tune back in at a later point. And if you're interested in a 2009 Discovery 3, then there's stuff coming for that as well.